Hey everyone, my name is Robin Slonenko, aka Power Daddy from LinkedIn, and I'm a Power Automate instructor. And this is a video from my Power Automate Foundations course. Before you can create any automated workflow, you need to learn how to use connectors. Connectors are the APIs that allow you to connect to the various softwares like Outlook, SharePoint, Adobe, or even databases like Dataverse. Without a connector, you cannot execute your automated workflow. Thanks again for checking out these Power Automate course videos, and we'll see you on the other side. Welcome back everyone to this topic where we actually start connecting and complete our first workflow. So once we got it started and we have the trigger, we now need to connect to some third party. So we click on New Step, and this screen will pop up and you can see all your connectors in here. And again, we have we have built-in ones, we have standard, and we got, of course, the premium ones, and my clipboard or custom ones. But we'll stick with the all, but we can always flip back between all and standard because that's where we're gonna go. And you can see then there's your triggers. So for example, the one we actually want is email. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the standard here, and you'll see there's the Office 365 Outlook. You can click on that, and then you get all the actions for that connector. So you can create a contact, you can create an event, send an email, delete an email, like yada, yada, yada. This list will vary depending on what connector you choose. So you can see there's quite a bit of options we can choose from with the Outlook 365 connector. And the one we want actually is send an email version 2. So let me see what that is. Send an email. Why can't I see it? Get. Oh, there it is. Send an email V2, version 2. Okay, select that one. And now you can see how the screen will adjust. And it says, okay, this connector that we've chosen, these are some of the properties, what we must fill in, like the to, the subject, and the body. And there's always sometimes a show advanced options, because you can do attachments and so forth, but which is a little bit beyond what I want to do for the first round. So I'm going to click on hide and just fill out these three. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to put in, it has to be somebody within the organization. So you can do this to yourself, like send an email to yourself. I'm going to use one of my student accounts here and put a subject in, something like, I don't know, whoops, my first workflow. And then in the body, we can put in, whatever you want. Hey, how are you? Any type of message. What we're going to do is this, we'll say, hey, this workflow was triggered on. And you will notice that when we started clicking around in these fields, this little dynamic content thing pops up. Dynamic means it changes or can change based on each of these triggers or as each trigger gets triggered. So look at all the options we can put in there. And first off, this information here, just city, state, street, postal code, country, full address. I'll give you a minute or a couple seconds. Where do you think, or whose information are they referring to here? And where is it coming from? Give you a hint. It's going to be the person who triggers this. Because remember, this is connected to Office 365. So whoever uses this is taking their information, just so you know where it's coming from. All we want here is the timestamp. So, and if this doesn't pop up, you can click on Add Dynamic Content. It's a toggle switch. We're going to choose timestamp. So say, hey, this workflow was triggered on, and it'll put in the timestamp for it. Nothing too complicated. It'll just send us an email as soon as it's triggered to, in this case, my student, or in your case, your own personal email. And remember, that email, though, has to be within the SharePoint or the Office 365 environment. This environment up here, which should be your corporation. Okay, sounds good. And that's all you need to do. Don't need to put a stop on it or anything, because if there's nothing after it, it will stop automatically. Hit save, give it a second. It's saving up here. Sometimes it can take a couple seconds. There you go. If you have green here, that's excellent. That means there's no issues. You can close out that green bar if you like. Now we can click on test up here in the corner. So click test. Yes, we're doing it manually. Click save and test down here. Give it a second. It's doing its thing. It shows the connection. So this is important to note here, is that it has to make sure you have a legitimate subscription and it can connect to that. If you do get an X here, obviously it means it's not going to work. The connector is not working. So we always want to make sure there's green check marks there. Looks good. Click continue. As it's running. Now down here at the bottom, run flow. And voila, it worked. You can hear by my little ding, I got an email. So if I flip over to my email account, there it is, my first workflow. I click it to student one. Hey, this workflow was triggered on right there with some other, I believe that'll be your time that it was sent. Also notice it's actually coming from my name, which means that's because I'm logged in as Robin. So it comes from my account, okay? Or the person, whoever is logged in. In this case, it's myself. All right, and I come back to my automate environment. I click on done over here and everything is happy. You can see those two green check marks mean it succeeded. It did what it needed to do, no problems. I can click on the arrow over here in the upper left corner to the left of your flow name. And I come back to this screen. I get a little more details of this screen or of the flow. You can see when it was created, modified, start. You'll get a 28-day run history. You can see it succeeded. So every time somebody runs this, it will record it right here, the date, the time, and the status. Okay, click on My Flows on the left, and you should see Chapter 2 First Workflow. I guess I had one earlier with the same name, so put a 2 at the end. But there's my workflow. You can see it's 2 minutes ago, and you can see it's instant. Okay, so that is how you do your very first workflow. That's all we have to say for that topic. We will see you in the next topic where we talk about input types.